Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How much time have you spent trying to prove yourself to people who don't even matter? Trying to prove to them you're good enough, smart enough, worthy enough. Living your life like you're on trial, trying to get a verdict that sets you free. But let me tell you something. You don't need to prove yourself to anybody. You were born enough, born worthy, born with something inside you that doesn't need approval, it needs development. See, there's a voice inside each of us that says, am I doing enough? Am I being seen? But that voice, it will trap you in performance mode. It will have you chasing validation instead of chasing vision. You'll get applause and still feel empty. You get likes, but never love yourself. Let me tell you something raw. Real power doesn't come from proving, it comes from improving. You don't get stronger lifting up other people's opinions, you get stronger lifting up your standards. You get stronger when you wake up and say, I'm not in competition with anyone. I'm in collaboration with my potential. Every day is not about proving you're better than someone else. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday. You don't need to prove you're successful, build success. You don't need to prove you're confident, become confident through action. And you don't need to prove you're enough, because truth is, you already are. Now go live like it. Let go of the pressure to perform and pick up the purpose to grow. Because when you improve yourself, everything else rises with you. Your relationships, your career, your confidence, your life. Stop proving, start becoming, stop performing, start transforming. And the day you stop showing up to impress is the day you start showing up to impact. Real power doesn't come from proving, it comes from improving. That simple shift in mindset can change the entire course of your life. See, too many people are walking through this world trying to prove something. Prove they're smart, prove they're talented, prove they're worthy. They exhaust themselves wearing masks, chasing approval, trying to fit into standards that were never made for them. But here's the truth. Proving is a performance. Improving is a process. When you live to prove yourself, you make other people the judge of your value. You let them hold the pen to your story. You say, tell me who I am, instead of discovering that for yourself. And the danger is, even when you get the approval, the applause, the recognition, it never feels like enough. Because proving yourself is a hunger that's never satisfied. You're always trying to earn something you already had. You're always running toward a finish line that keeps moving. Improving yourself, that's different, that's internal, that's quiet, that's personal. It's not about what they see, it's about who you become. And when you focus on improving, every failure becomes a lesson, not a label. Every setback becomes a setup for your next level. You stop being addicted to image and start getting obsessed with growth. You stop asking, do they believe in me? And you start asking, how can I believe in myself more today than I did yesterday? Improving is external and fragile. It crumbles when the crowd walks away. Improving is internal and unshakable. It builds something in you no one can take away. A person focused on proving chases attention. A person focused on improving chases excellence. One is for show, the other is for substance. You've got to understand, real power is not in the titles, the trophies, or the followers. Real power is in discipline. It's in commitment. It's in doing the work when no one's watching. It's in the sweat you pour into your goals, not the praise you collect from the gallery. Real power is silent. It grows in the dark. It matures through struggle. And it shines without needing permission. There is no peace in proving. You'll be anxious, restless, and always second-guessing yourself. But there is purpose in improving. You'll feel grounded, focused, and fulfilled, not because you've arrived, but because you're becoming. And that process of becoming, that's where your power lives, that's where your confidence grows, that's where your future gets shaped. When you focus on improving, you stop reacting to opinions and start responding to your purpose. You don't shrink when people doubt you, you grow. You don't chase validation, you chase mastery. You don't need to show them, you show up. Every single day you refine your character, your craft, and your commitment. You sharpen your mind, you stretch your limits, and you stay humble enough to learn and bold enough to act. You are not in competition with anyone. You are in collaboration with your potential. That mindset changes everything. See, most people spend their lives comparing themselves to others. They measure their worth against someone else's highlight reel. They scroll through social media, watch someone else's success, and immediately start to feel behind. But comparison is a thief. It robs you of your joy, your focus, and your unique rhythm. When you start believing you're in a race with everyone around you, you lose sight of the real mission, becoming the best version of yourself. The truth is, no one else has your fingerprint. No one else has your exact path, your mix of struggles, your flavor of purpose. That means your growth can't be measured by someone else's timeline. You're not here to beat them. You're here to become you. And that's not a competition. That's a collaboration. You were given a vision, a voice, a gift. And your job is to work with that, not against others. When you collaborate with your potential, you start focusing on progress over position. You stop asking, where do I rank? And you start asking, where am I growing? You stop obsessing over what they're doing and start locking in on what you're becoming. That's where confidence starts to rise, not from being ahead of others, but from being in sync with your path. Because deep down, you know when you're leveling up. You know when you're doing the inner work. That quiet pride, that sense of purpose. It doesn't come from beating someone. It comes from building something inside yourself. Collaboration with your potential means respecting the process. It means you show up every day ready to learn, ready to stretch, ready to evolve. You understand that greatness isn't found in trophies, it's found in routines, in the discipline of showing up even when you're tired, in the decision to keep going even when no one's watching. You don't compete to impress others, you commit to honor what's inside you. That potential you've got, it's not fixed. It expands the more you work with it. Every time you push yourself, it grows. Every time you rise after failure, it strengthens. You become a partner with your own progress. You don't chase shortcuts. You don't need comparisons. You just keep investing, keep building, keep showing up with full effort and full heart. And what happens over time is powerful. Your mindset shifts. You stop seeing other people as threats and start seeing them as reminders of what's possible. You stop being jealous and start being inspired. You realize we're all on our own timelines with our own lessons, and the only race that matters is the one between who you were and who you're becoming. That's the collaboration. That's the real game. You and your potential working together to unlock everything you were built for. Applause fades, but growth lasts. It's easy to get caught up in the sound of people cheering for you. It feels good to be recognized, to be celebrated, to have your name called. But the truth is, applause is temporary. It's a moment, not a movement. It comes and goes with people's attention, their opinions, their moods. One day they love you, the next day they've moved on to someone else. If you build your identity on applause, you're building on a foundation that will crumble the moment the crowd goes silent. That's why growth is different. Growth doesn't need an audience. It doesn't demand recognition. It happens quietly, behind the scenes, in the hours no one sees. Growth is what you do when the spotlight is off. It's the grind, the discipline, the effort you put in when nobody's clapping for you. That's what lasts. That's what sticks. That's what transforms you from someone who performs into someone who becomes. Applause is about performance. It's about showing the world your best side. Growth is about process. It's about facing your weaknesses, confronting your fears, pushing through resistance. One is for the moment, the other is for a lifetime. When you chase applause, you start making choices to please people. You shape your words, your actions, your decisions around what gets a reaction. But when you commit to growth, you make choices that build your character. You start doing what's right, not what's popular. You start doing what's necessary, not just what's noticed. Growth is uncomfortable. It stretches you. It challenges your ego. It puts you in rooms where you don't feel like the smartest person anymore. It humbles you. But that's where the real strength is. That's where confidence is born, not from applause, but from knowing what you've overcome, what you've learned, what you've become capable of. The person who lives for the applause needs constant affirmation. The person who lives for growth carries their validation within. There's nothing wrong with applause. It feels good. It can be a sign that your work is making impact, but it should never be your fuel, because applause is an echo. Growth is a root. Applause can lift you temporarily. Growth builds you permanently. When the lights are off and the crowd goes home, it's your growth that will carry you forward. It's your growth that will give you the resilience to get back up. It's your growth that will open doors, not because you were liked, but because you were prepared. Growth creates value. It increases your capacity, sharpens your mindset, and deepens your understanding. It makes you useful, not just visible. Applause might put you on a stage, but growth determines whether you stay there. When you focus on becoming better, stronger, wiser, more consistent, you develop something no one can take from you. Something that isn't seasonal or situational. Something that doesn't depend on public opinion or social validation.